Hello, all my Aquarius signs. This is your home light security reading for August for all Aquariuses. I'm sorry, at the moment, right when the video started, I was trying to get my cards together. I was noticing they were turned all different ways, and I was trying to adjust that. Now, if you've never watched any of these videos before, please look right there, and it'll help you to understand how to, you know, interpret these readings, because home light security is for the month. It gives you a little bit of a tarot, a little bit of astrology, a little bit of whatever my guides are telling me to pass on. And if you are an Aquarius, Sun Aquarius, then this is more of your core energy. If you are a Moon Aquarius, then I'm more in your emotions. And if you are a rising Aquarius, this is more of your three-dimensional world or energy. Now, I'm seeing what the cards have to say, but at first they were kind of adjusted the wrong direction, so I had to fix that. Now, let's see. What do I have coming out for Aquarius? Aquarius. Can you make that a higher vibration? Or more more potent? I'm getting, before, I don't think they're going to let me give me cards until actually I start speaking. What they're giving me is throat chakra. And it's kind of like, I don't feel like it's fear necessarily, but it's kind of like not sure, being not secure in whatever it is you're thinking or wanting to bring into action. You might be trying too hard to be perfect. You're not quite sure how to communicate it. So it is a fear and a little bit of an insecurity, but what Spirit is saying, well, what are you hiding from yourself about? Because what you're wanting to communicate outwardly for whatever reason or to whoever, it's something that you are needing to do and you're feeling the need, but what are you afraid of actually figuring out? What are you afraid of actually speaking about? Because it's what's slowing you down, more or less, is what I'm getting. I'm getting familiar is what's coming in, and the familiar is the cat, but it's not just a cat. It can be, it's considered witch's best friend. The witch is familiar. The witch is I love the familiars because sometimes they are so helpful and sometimes they're not helpful at all. But they can be their own entity, is what I'm saying. So they're there to help you, but they're not there just to serve you. So in a form, the familiar reminds me of your guides. Your guides are always going to help you. They're going to love you and try to help direct whatever is best for you. But they're not there to kiss your ass. They're not there to do the job for you. They're there to help you along your way while they also have their own jobs to do. And what's coming up next is the pentagram. And for me, this is the familiar. Sorry, I got it backwards. The familiar is asking you to tap in to your own energy, to tap into your source, into your elements. And when I say elements, I mean, northeast, west, south, but I mean fire, earth, air. I also mean elements in the way of, on a shaman point of view, a lot of times our elements can also be, like the storms, the actual element of like the hurricane or an avalanche or volcano, and the elements of their extremes. And what I feel is your familiar is asking you to get familiar with your elements, with all of your 4 or 5 as you see them, and find your find your balance. I always say your 4 equals your 1, your emotional, your mental, your spiritual, and your physical equals your 1 wholeness. And so whatever is going on with this throat chakra energy, the in I don't want to even say it's insecure, but I feel what it is just doubt, not sure of what actions to take, or trying too hard to make sure that you're saying it in the right way. And Spirit is kind of giving you, what are you running from about figuring it out? The bell, calling back your spirit. The bell can ring in spirit. But with the way that this is going, I feel like it is saying it's time to call the spirit back to you. Call your own source back to you, your own higher self. Is there anything else? Yeah, I got another deck that's also wanting to talk. Before I jump into, the Lionsgate energy, the full moon, everything, da-da-da. What else does Aquarius need to hear for the month of August? What else? Thank you. Sorry, they're kind of sticking together. Ace of Swords. This is definitely about your throat chakra. This is about you getting out of your stubborn and flexible way that's making you overanalyze, over question, over doubt. And this is saying it's time to speak up. It's time to actually, bring it out. Speak with the authority. Believe in yourself. What else? Thank you. Again, bringing you back to balance. 2 of Wands. This is desire, beauty, finding the balance of everything. It is the hope, the wonder for the new beginning. But if you're not willing to speak it and bring it out, then it's not going to happen. Judgment. The only way it's going to come forward only way the forward change is going to happen, and what you're trying to create is if you're willing to have the courage to make it come into fruition, come into actual 3-dimensional reality. So I feel like this is just, you got to get out of your ego's doubt, plain and simple. Get out of your ego's doubt for whatever you got going on. Let me put the cards away and I'll pull out the astrology information and we'll get going there. They're also saying that you need to be grounded. You need to be grounded because whether you realize it or not, the energy is already in manifestation and it is already moving into the material direction. So if you're not grounded because you're overanalyzingly, stubbornly picking at yourself, then what you're going to be manifesting is from that energy. And this is outgoing energy that you're creating. So make sure that you are keeping your balance, that you're in your 4, and then that you are able to speak what you need to speak, because it's already in the process of manifestation. So if you need to redirect it, it's making sure that you're checking it out that proper way. All right, with that being said, hi Bertha and hi Mary. I don't usually say too many comments, but answer comments, but every once in a while I see them and I'm capable of it because of where I'm channeling at. And I'm not yet, so and it works. All right. You have the Lionsgate that is this month. Now, it takes place on the 8th, but the Lionsgate energy has already been opened, but it's not going to end right on the 8th, okay? It is an open portal. It is very demanding, but this energy is also putting an oomph, pushing the energy of like the next 6 months. And it's pretty much taking its, first leap and bound, jump in that direction right here at the new moon at the end of this month. So this month, even though you have the Lionsgate opening the portal and pushing you in the direction, this month is also got a lot of slow down just a little bit and actually make sure you're getting your ducks in a row. you know, at the same time, because this energy is definitely going straight through the projection of how we're starting the next 6 months. And it's just the way that it's playing out in the astrology itself. With that being said, you have a full moon in Aquarius in your sign on the 11th, right after the Lion's Gate, and in opposition of that Lion's Gate, more or less. Now, Venus is going to be moving into Leo on the 11th, the same day as the full moon. Now, the Lion's Gate is actually taking place in your 7th house, your relationship house. And that's going to have a lot to do with your relationships and your character and how you choose to view and see them. Now, Venus coming in right after that is also putting the sensitivity on the outside of you. But I'm going to get into that when I get into the astrology more. You have Mars, which is moving into Gemini on the 20th. The Sun enters Virgo on the 22nd. Uranus is going to go retrograde on the 24th. This is a big deal. It is one of your rulers. So right now, a part of you is in shadow because one of your rulers is in shadow. And when we get to where it's actually at in the chart, I'll help you to understand that better. Mercury is going to be moving into the 25th. Spirit said for some of you that it's your Uranus is going to be somewhat like a Mercury retrograde. When I get into the chart, and I'm reading it for you, I'll remember that, but I just was interrupted by them. And then you have the new moon on the 27th, which is going to take place in Virgo. So this has a lot to do with your relationship zone in general, but let's take a look at the chart. Da-da-da-da-da. Have some water. Virtual hug back at you, Bertha. Mwah, mwah, mwah. All right. I always start wherever the sun is, because wherever the sun is technically the house that you were walking through. And it's the most noticeable of the energy. So I don't start these readings at, your sign. I start where the sun is. Now, the sun, like I said, for it being the Lion's Gate, is in your 7th house, but it's going to leave the 7th mid-month and go into the 8th house, where you're also going to have that new moon at the end of the month. So I'm kind of pulling it all into full circle and giving you a full idea here. Now, right after the Lion's Gate, on the 11th, Venus is moving in to Leo. So this is your relationships are about to become a whole lot more sensitive. And that's not good or bad. It can be either. I say Venus, I hate it when astrologers say that Venus is love. It is not love. Venus is your sensitivity. She speaks to you on your emotional, your mental, your spiritual, and your physical energy. When I say all the time, if you put your hand in an oven cooking cookies at 365 degrees and you don't have an oven mitt, what the burning that you're feeling on your hand is Venus telling you, don't put me through this shit. It hurts. Venus is going to tell you when it loves you, when it's supporting you, when it caresses you, when it makes you feel good and vibrant and you want more of it like an addiction. But Venus is also telling you what has betrayed you, what's lied to you, what hurt you. And then she gets into your emotional. That's your emotional. She gets into your physical senses, gets into the blocking of your energies because of those positive or negatives of how it is your body is interpreting the emotional energy. Now, with that being said, this is going in Venus coming in to the 7th house, making those relationships a whole lot more sensitive, good or bad, bringing additional attention to if it's good or if it's bad, if it's working in a way that is supporting and healthy of relationships, or if it is actually more unhealthy and needs to be addressed. Then you have the sun, which will be moving through Leo and coming into Virgo, which is your 8th house, which is still relationships. But this is where the relationships have the ability to rebirth, rebloom, continue to move on forever. It is the rules of the relationship. So it's the rules, the walls, the boundaries that make the relationships foundation secure and strong, or lack of it. And you also have Sirius in this energy. Sirius is in the Leo energy. This is karma and the threefold. But Sirius is also teaching you about speaking with that Venus energy, as it's going to come in here shortly. And it's going to be speaking to you about noticing the sensitivity and how it's nurturing you or harming you. Or if you're neglecting energies. See, Sirius has a lot to do with, I use it a lot when I explain it in the form of child support. You know, like child support, the people need the money for child support, but it's not just the money for child support. It's the proper nourishing, it's the proper food, the proper clothing, the proper nurturing, you know, from the heart, you know, giving the child the mother who can help them learn and grow, showing them a father that gives them a strong, you know, firm masculine energy so that they can grow well balanced. Your relationships right now has the Leo energy of the Lionsgate coming through, showing you, really, are they being nurtured? Are they truly being nurtured, or is there areas that are being neglected? The sensitivity that is good and showing you that you want more of it and why it's good for you, but it's also showing you where it's not in sync with you, where the vibration does not match. And then it's going directly into, at the end of the month, going, you, well, this is showing you all of the red flags of good and bad of these relationships, and then showing you at the end of the month how to redirect the true soul turning of the relationship. If it has a good foundation, if it's going to stay in vibrational sync with you or not, if it's something that should continue to be in sync with you. Is it taking you away from the vibration you want to be part of? And or is it supporting the vibration you want to be part of? All of this energy is showing you itself throughout the month. Now, your full moon, I'm jumping forward a little bit on the chart because your full moon is taking place in your sign. And who's in your sign right now? Saturn. Rules, walls, and boundaries. One of your rulers. But this is saying, pay very close attention to the rules, the walls, the boundaries of these relationships as the Lion's Gate starts to show you and illuminate the truth of these relationships and illuminate parts that you may not necessarily be ready to see, but you're going to. But it's also asking you, with it being in your first house of Aquarius, is asking you to pay attention to your part. Pay attention to your character flaws as well within these relationships and how you are choosing to view them. Are you viewing them from a high positive perspective? Are you viewing them from a lower perspective? Are you needing to, critique some of your own character here and strengthen your character? It has a lot to do with the way you view the world, the way you view your relationships, the way you view yourself, as well as the way the world views you. And so the Lion's Gate, the full moon, and the new moon, that's pretty much what the whole zoom of that month is showing you. Now let me get back into following it through the chart and helping you to see the rest of the perspectives here. You have Mercury also, which is going to be in your 8th house, which is where that relationship, rules, walls, and boundaries, the true foundation, whether it's good or a crumbling foundation of these relationships. You have Mercury here up until mid-month when it moves into your 9th house. All right. And this is the communication. Again, you started off with your throat chakra and having a little bit of fear a little bit of not sure, insecurity of what you wanted to speak, what you wanted to communicate, and maybe a little fear of how it may come out because you're not quite sure how to communicate it. This is Mercury here in this energy. Also, mid-month, it's going to go out of Virgo and it's going to move into Gemini. Not Gemini. Where is it moving? On the 25th, it's going to move into Libra. And this is also on a universal scale. Libra is the relationship zone. Okay? But it's going to be moving into, for you, the 9th house of Libra. Now, the problem, Aquarius, is one of your issues about why you always make the mistake of getting yourself confused. Okay, because a Libra energy is all about creating harmony and balance and justice. But Libras forget to be part of the scale. So do Aquariuses. You guys see the harmony and balance that needs to be made, and then you forget your part of it, just like Libras do. But Libra does it in the way of they're trying to stand back and support everybody else. You guys don't see yourself as being the same. You don't mean to. It's just part of the way it is. And you see the humanitarian interests that need to be addressed. You see the positive energies that need to be addressed. You guys pour the energy of the higher knowledge down, but you forget to take it and apply it to your own self. And that's what I mean by the Libra. Now, this is your higher self. Your higher self can balance. Your philosophy can balance. Your ethics and morals and spiritual truths and psychic energy can balance. You're able to create harmony by seeing both sides of the picture. But you've got to remember, you have to feel it. You have to feel it and be part of it, not just acknowledge it. That's a problem for Aquariuses. You guys acknowledge it, and then you overanalyze it, and you've overanalyzed it to where you've lost the heart space of it. And this is asking you to keep that heart space right now, because the communication as Mercury moves in, without Mercury giving you the communication of the good and the bad, the positive, the negative, then you're just seeing it from an outsider point of view. And it's not about the outsider. It's your psychic energy. It's your spiritual energy. You have every right to it just as much as any and everything else on the planet. So this is making sure that you are understanding also when you're getting in your own head in negative ways and overanalyzing and knowing when to realize that you're actually you're actually casting that throat chakra issue that you have this issue with. And this is what I'm trying to get through. So this is, it's definitely a helpful thing of understanding that the communication isn't a positive or a negative. It's what you choose to perceive it as. It's up to you to keep that Libra balance in your psychic, in your spiritual world, into the justice of seeing it for everything that it is, good and bad, not picking one or the other side. Now, your 10th house has the South Node here. The 10th house is the outer world. And it is also your honor, your reputation, your prestige. It is your financial success. It is your career area. It is the outer authority of the outer world. Now, the South Node here is saying you still have a lot of drilled in ideas of what you've been taught that the outer world says this is acceptable and this is not. And where the outer world still has a little bit of its teeth sunk into you, even though you guys are the Aquariuses and you're like, the 4th of July, you're the fireworks, but we don't really know what's going to come out. You wait until you get pushed to that point. And this is saying you shouldn't have to wait to get pushed to the point for that Aquarius energy to come out, for that I will take on City Hall energy. No, you were created part of the energy to show the world how to be better. That's part of why you're able to have that balance. And this is saying you got to believe in you and start bringing that out with authority through your own voice. But the South Node goes, I bet you won't. The South Node is everything you're good at, but it's not good for you anymore. It's understanding the way society is. It's understanding the authority of the outer world, but it's also understanding where it's wrong and the corrections need to be made, and showing you how to come back into your power and show that you have authority out there, and going, I bet that you can do it before you snap. I bet that you have that higher water Aquarius energy of bringing it out and starting to show the world while you're still in maintaining your balance before you snap. That's part of that lesson of what's been being taught to you the whole year, is showing you that the outer authority only has rules over you and authority over you until you feel like you have no choice, and then you have to snap. But you have the power to change it at any given time. It's just doing your Aquarius ways of stepping in and showing the world that water-bearing energy. No. Use that psychic energy. Use that spiritual energy. It's there for you. It's trying to teach you how to bring yourself into that higher authority. Now, your 12th house. There's nothing really new going on in the 12th house outside of the fact of you have it's Capricorn for you. It is where Pluto is in retrograde. Now, Pluto, though, has been here for freaking ever, it seems like, and it has about 2 years left, I believe. And that's where I always say, where though I walk through the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, because that's the way Grimm gives me the 12th house. And gives me Pluto energy. And Pluto is, where is that spark, that source energy that you're just a little bit afraid to tap into? And it's hidden in your grief, sorrow, shame, blame, insecurities. It's hidden in those places that you don't believe in your full talents yet. It's hidden in those places where you're hiding or questioning or doubting or don't fully have support and breathing life into, because you doubt yourself. And that's where our grief, sorrow, shame, blame, our skeletons in the closet hide. And where we're not able to actually bring the healing to ourselves, because we've become comfortable in the uncomfortability of going, let me leave it in the closet. This is simply saying, if you could tap into you and see all that your guides could see you as, you wouldn't question yourself anymore. So stop and start giving yourself the fighting chance. Start speaking with that authority, but not because you've been pushed to the razzle point, to the rattled point. Speaking it because you're believing it in your gut. Then as we come into that first house again, this is where you have Aquarius. And Aquarius is, got Saturn here right now, where the full moon's going to be taking place, going to be giving you that sun and that moon, shadowing illumination of the mirror of your soul self versus your ego self. It is your character and areas of our character that we don't acknowledge are illuminating in both the light and the dark, because it's the full moon bringing it up into illumination, showing us what we need to release and surrender and let go of because it doesn't serve us in our character and how we view the world. Now, your second house is Mercury. Not Mercury. Your second house is Pisces, where Neptune is. And that means you have the ability to believe in yourself. But see, Neptune is funny that way. And Neptune's in retrograde. Neptune is the magic. It's the source of the soul magic itself. It is able to be full-on illusion or delusion. It is able to be fantasy or reality. It is able to be the dream or the magic. And it's what you breathe into. So this is saying in your second house, the only way you're going to fully get your magic sparked is to believe in it. It's to believe in your self-worth, self-value, self-esteem. To strengthen the magic of I am and I can do and be any freaking thing. But that has to do with finding inner emotional security in self-worth, self-value, self-esteem. And that's nothing new. Neptune has been here for quite a long time, but that's, long story short, what it is trying to teach you. Now, I'm giving this to you so hard because I'm moving towards Uranus, where Uranus is in retrograde, and I'm making sure that you're getting this. See, your third house, your fourth house is where Uranus is in retrograde, but your third house is the way your brain is active. It is Aries, and everything in Aries is in retrograde. You have Jupiter in retrograde, you have Eris in retrograde, you have Chiron in retrograde, and this is technically the head according to the blueprint. How the brain is acting and the brain is thinking. Eris is trouble, toil, strife, and injustice. She's the one I always call Medusa. Chiron is the wounded healer, and Jupiter is abundance and higher knowledge, all in your head. But he's cluttered right now with vampire syndrome. And that's what I mean when I'm saying Eris, trouble, toil, strife, Medusa. It's like I would rather sink my teeth into this horrible idea and just rip it apart and keep sinking into this and dissecting this and pointing out that and going after this, instead of going, that's not good for me. I need to drop that right where it is and start looking at the positive side. Trouble, toil, strife. Holding on to what you haven't been able to let go of in your head, mind chatter. Then Chiron, the wounded healer, going, yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. That's why I haven't been able to heal. It's jumping on the bandwagon. Jupiter is abundance and higher knowledge, but if you're feeding him the bandwagon of the funk, then he has nothing to give you but manifestation of the bandwagon of the funk. So this is saying, get out of your head when it's negative. Maybe acknowledge where your thinking process, your communication with yourself is fearful, is in question of speaking your mind, or because you're not sure what your mind really is thinking, and letting go of that three-dimensional idea of that vampire syndrome, and then allow Jupiter bring that higher knowledge in and start moving you in a more healthy way. But if you're in the head chatter in negative ways right now, and the thing is, Aries, the head chatter, that's going to be in retrograde, all three, until December. So this is definitely saying learning how to control your mindful thinking. And I give it to you in such a way because when we get to your fourth house, that's Taurus for you. And Taurus just wants to see, why can't I just have heaven here on earth, man? Seriously. Taurus wants things to be wonderful, wants to see and feel secure. But with Uranus here, Uranus is not in a comfortable place. Uranus is independence, individuality, uniqueness, freedom, self-worth, self-value, self-esteem. In Taurus, which is the actual manifestation house, the actual money house, the actual law of attraction house. For you, it's your heart space. It's the home. It's the inner emotional security. And Uranus is in retrograde going, I'm only now communicating with myself. And if you're allowing that head conjunction of Medusa, trouble, toil, strife, Chiron, and Jupiter work against you, this is going to be a hard 6 months. So this is definitely saying, don't allow that headspace to be this way. This is about securing your inner emotional security with self-worth, self-value, self-esteem, showing the world your unique individuality. You're freaking Aquarius, for crying out loud. Show us you're Aquarian. Show us how brilliant your mind is. Don't get in the three-dimensional doubt. Because right now, the most important and best thing for you is to get into your inventive nature, into your creative nature, and bringing it out and showing not just us, but showing yourself. And then we can be proud of you. But it's not about us being proud of you. It's about you showing yourself how wonderful and glorious you are and what you have. And then the rest of us will want to follow you. Now, your Mars is going to be moving into your 5th house, which is also where you have Pallas, the Athena, the warrior goddess. This is strategic thinking, teaming up with your warrior in your creative house, but near the end of the month. So this is some reflection before we put it into action, into creating. So this is allowing some soul time to help you figure out what you're wanting to create and the direction you're trying to spin it. And then you'll have Mars, the warrior, your passion, your action, aggression, and the fire energy. But it is actually for you in the communicative, curious, ready to explore and try new ideas of Gemini and bring out brand new ideas, new creativity. So allow it to slowly grow on you through the month and start to redirect. The only issue you have here is your 6th house has Lilith in it. And Lilith is not strong in the 6th house. And what I mean by that is that's the universal home, the universal inner emotional security. But for you, it's your 6th house. And this is your rules, not your rules. This is your groups, your memberships, your everyday daily tasks, your mundane tasks, the people, the places, and the energies of the daily activities that you consume, which also consume you, which means it is great to be a loving person and to help others out. But when you are giving so much of yourself that you are actually harming yourself, then you are being submissive and actually not loving yourself at all. And this is part of the lesson with Lilith in Cancer. This is saying, by all means, on your daily routines, your daily activities, be good to other people, but make sure you're being good to you first. I love you guys. Bye.